Hello, everyone, and this is another episode of Swamp Stories. And this episode is about Black history and in sports and the impact that athletes have in their sport and their community. Our first athlete we're going to be going over is Barry Sanders from the Detroit Lions, and he spent his time in Detroit from 1989 to 1998. He changed how the running back position was looked at, and he inspired many people to become running backs. If you want to see how dominant he was as a running back, search up the 1991 playoffs for Detroit Lions versus Dallas Cowboys. He juked out the entire defense and made some people fall on top of each other. Our next athlete we're going to be looking at is Calvin Johnson, who spent 9 seasons in Detroit, and he changed how big receivers were defended because he was so dominant. He was always doubled. He was so dominant in one season, he had almost 2,000 receiving yards, and that still hasn't been broken today. And teams today have an extra game to play. If you want to see how dominant he was, search up Calvin Johnson's best catches. He was always mossing people. The next athlete we're going to be going over is Magic Johnson, who was born in Lansing, Michigan, and went to Michigan State and was drafted to the LA Lakers. Throughout his career, he redefined what it meant to be a point guard. The way he passed and just the way he played was not like the typical point guard during his time. He was so dominant, he is still argued to be one of the best point guards of all time. I recommend to search up his career highlights just to see how dominant he really was. He was impactful on the court, but off the court he was even more impactful for bringing awareness to HIV and has his own foundation to help urban minority communities. Next athlete is Jalen Rose, and he was born in Detroit, Michigan, and went to the University of Michigan and was a member of the famous Fab Five, and was drafted to the Denver Nuggets. He was in the NBA from 1994 to 2007. In 2000, he created the Jalen Rose Foundation to create life-changing opportunities for underserved youth. In 2011, the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy was made and was a free charter high school, and its goal was to help kids from Detroit be successful in college and life. I'm here with
Isaiah Simpson.
and have you heard of Magic Johnson?
Yeah, I've heard of Magic.
So what impact do you think Magic Johnson had on basketball?
I think Magic's impact. I think he was one of the first. Him and Larry Bird were one of the first superstars in the NBA. They set a huge path for guys like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and guys that follow that way. I also feel like he can show that you could be good, but also be a little flashy.
Yeah. So what do you take away from his career?
Um, he's had a lot of ups and downs, but it's rare that you'll ever see Magic Johnson without a smile on his face or him being down. So I think throughout all the struggles he faced, throughout all like his HIV stuff and things like that, he's always just been a good competitor and overall good person.
So how do you feel about him being a role model, like helping his community and stuff?
I think Magic, like I said, just him being a good person is a good role model for people to, not be, bad and things like that. And think just overall him being the guy he is, just like a lot of other guys in the league are just, it's just good to show the younger kids like a good role model of how it is to be a decent person.
So how do you feel about athletes helping like their communities and like the next generation of stars?
I think it's good because then it'll help, like, for example, let's say there was an upcoming athlete and he wanted to know steps of how to be great. So they ask guys who have already been there so they don't end up making the same mistakes they've made, or they just don't, they just have a better, smoother path than guys that came before us, and then they can pass it on to the next generation and so on and so
So do you take parts of Magic's game and try and implement it into yours?
forth. Yeah, a little bit. I won't say all the way, but yeah, I mean, him just being well rounded, him being able to play any position, him being able to pass, and being able to rebound, finish, things like that. So I guess you could say that.
Okay. Thank you.